Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Shawn, and before we jump in this episode, I just wanted to give you a quick note. Something that if you can do for us would be amazing. It is the 2022 Podcast Awards going on right now. It's our 7th year trying to get into the slate. If you don't know, there's a nomination period all through July 1st through the end of the month. Go to podcastawards.com, pick out Language of Bromance for the Best Host Award. Like I said, it's our 7th year. We're trying to make the slate. If we make the slate, that means we get voted on. Actually, not really voted on, but we get actual people listening to the show telling us if it's good or bad, and then we could win Best Male Host. So please go to podcastawards.com and nominate Language of Bromance for the Best Male Host. All right, now for the show. And I'm recording here.
I hit the button. I hit the button. Was there one other thing I was going to say? D2 Armor Picker. D2 Armor Picker is very nice, too.
I think I've got that one, too.
Okay.
Maybe not.
That way, if you know what you're going for, then that if you know what kind of things you want, then that D2 Armor Picker is helpful as well.
Nice. Technology's good.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I like that they kind of allow that, too. Like, Bungie's pretty open to that. It's like, well, we can't build anything better than this, so we'll let you do it.
Yes! Yes!
So last week we talked about my trip, and we did an episode on, like, stuff that's going to eat you. And so I'm able to report I survived. Wasn't humped by a dolphin. Wasn't eaten by a gator.
Exactly. I was going to say, funny enough, I was like, holy shit, we just did a whole thing about how, Florida is the flaccid penis of America, and then you decided to travel to the flaccid penis of America.
I did. I only saw one gator. I took a wrong turn, missed an exit, and ran around this little, kind of water runoff in between the highway, and there was one gator hanging out there. It's the only one I saw the whole trip.
What'd he do?
He's just hanging out. Although I did just see a video. It was this guy in a boat, and it was on like a dock, and like you see this gator swimming up, and the dog. And this the dock is like a good probably like 4 or 5 feet off the water, and you can see this gator coming. This dog doesn't know, right? He doesn't watch National Geographic. He's just a dog. He's looking down there.
Crocodile hunter. He doesn't know what's what.
Yeah, he's like, why is this log coming this way? Stupid. Oh, God, what? The log's coming out of it's got my nose. Freaking gator grabbed the dog by the face and pulled him in the water. Didn't eat him, though. He got away.
He got away?
The dog got away. Sad story, though, I just saw today. This guy was walking his 40 or 50 pound lab, and he said this 9-foot gator jumped out and grabbed his dog and pulled it in the water. And he said he jumped in the water and grabbed the alligator, not thinking. And then he said he realized how big the gator was. And he was like, nope, you're no longer my dog. You're nature's dog. And he let go. But the funny thing about that story, like the Florida natural whatever.
That's terrible. That's like the never-ending story, but it's Florida alligators.
Yeah, they're not. I think this time of year,
the kid with the horse, which is arguably the most traumatizing scene of any kid that ever grew up in the '80s, and they tell you what's the worst thing you've ever seen in your entire life, because we're talking like most of this generation, they didn't see World War II. Or the Holocaust, that ramped up quick.
I did. But no, our generation was like, here, watch Never-Ending Story, or The Land Before Time, or Willy Wonka, and scare the shit out of you.
However, be that as it may, that scene in Never-Ending Story with the horse is fucking traumatizing.
Yeah?
That shit wrecked me when I was a kid. Wrecked me.
And
you know what? That's... there are things that you cry, you watch a movie and you cry at because it's sweet, you watch the first 10 minutes of Up and it's sad, but it's sad and you cry about it, but you cry about it because it's sweet. it's nice, you know? Like, there is nothing nice about the never-ending story. There's nothing nice about that entire scene. That entire scene is nothing but tragedy, and like you're crying, and it's not like that's sweet. Like, you don't even feel good about it. Like, you cry about it, and there's nothing you could do, and it's terrible, and you don't feel good about it. You don't feel good about anything that's happening.
What's the book about the dog that got rabies that they had to put down? Not Cujo.
Old Yeller?
Old Yeller. That's another one that got me.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, because the kid had to do it. Like, the kid that didn't even really like him and started coming around to him.
Yeah. Old Yeller didn't really affect me as much. That's weird.
I think, well, it was older. Like, it was like a 60s movie. So,
but I mean, I saw Old Yeller when I was a kid, but it didn't.
Yeah. If you were like me, though, like movies like that when I was a kid, I saw, like, I feel like they were even more fake. Like, I'm like, this is super fake. Like, there's no dog with rabies, but you watch, like, Never-Ending Story, and you're like, they had to kill a horse for that scene.
The horse really died. Maybe that's why it's so sad.
Could be.
Because you could see the fear in the horse's eyes. Off camera, there's just a fucking angry mob with big knives.
Director's like, oh, shoot, we didn't get it. Got to roll it back. Well, the horse is gone. We'll bring in the other horse. Oh, God, I hope they don't get to horse 3. 18 horses were killed.
How many
that
horses
day.
do we have left? 2 horses.
Yeah, that would be horrible to see your dog get taken away like that.
It's terrible. Well, now that we've successfully filled our entire audience with sadness and misery and the tale of cinema gone awry.
Let's go on a vacation. You know what I didn't do on this trip?
Let's see if you can bring it up. Let's see if you can bring up this crowd, Shawn.
We'll see. And I will kind of bring you down a little bit, Richard. I didn't play Holiday Road every time we broke state lines. That's just for me.
Well, that's fine because I was gonna say that's fine because I wasn't there.
All right, let's talk about rides.
All right, I'm okay with this. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. And Shawn went on Shawn had an epic adventure. Shawn went on an adventure, and he's going to tell me all about it. I've made him not tell me about it. I will say, though, this is a hard sell, Shawn. Because I don't know if you know this, but quintessentially, people, if I came to you and said, hey, we're going to look at the slideshow of a trip me and my family went on, you'd run for the hills. Well, you wouldn't, but most people would. Most people would be like, I have to go. My close relative is on fire at this very moment, and I need to go to the store and get water.
But Richard, when you sit and you record it and put it on the internet, people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing."
Are they?
I don't know. They might be interested. There's a few interesting things that happen.
I'm well, like I said, I'm interested.
And like I said, so like
because
the main staple for like this too is like we don't do this a lot, but I feel like this is like a journal entry into our life, right? Like this is the episode like 20 years from now, my son's going to listen back to and be like, oh yeah, because he was like 6. So I'm sure he's got pretty vivid memories of this trip, but it's one of those that might recall things back.
Well, the thing that I was going to say is that, a lot of people, so, obviously I'm sure it's in the title. It's all over the place. You went on a family trip. You went to Florida. You went to Universal. You went to Islands of Adventure. You hit the gamut. Did you do anything at Disney? Was there any Disney in there?
No, we didn't do Disney. We stayed there. There's 3 parks there. So there's, like you said, the Universal, Islands of Adventure, and then they have a water park called Volcano Bay. So we did all 3 of those.
Okay. So you did all that. Now, I also I have been, but that was like, oh God, 20 years ago. Ew.
Yeah.
Makes me feel gross.
And that was in the 2000s.
So for me, I guess it's interesting to hear somebody that has gone to say, oh, well, there's this and there's this and there's this. And I'm like, well, they didn't have that when I was there. And I obviously, I compare it because I don't know if you know this, Shawn, this is all about me. And it's about myself. So,
yeah. Well, that's why I sent you a bunch of pictures. I'm like, all right, here it is, VR ride. Whee! Oh God, my phone! I lost 6 phones down there, Richard, just for you.
So I'm putting all this through my prism.
Well, if you're
I'm doing is comparing it to the trip I had, and I'm like, well, it sounds like his time was not as glorious as my time.
You know what, Shawn? Sounds like next time, leave the family at home, and it's going to be you and I going down there.
And I'll show you how to do this thing right.
Which, if you're like me too, what I like is, so I kind of went back to like some YouTube videos and have watched like people that go there like quite a bit. And if you're like me, I like seeing those things. I was like, oh, I was there. Oh, I was there. Oh, that's the exact spot I was.
Yes. I have done that as well. Shawn, I actually did that just the other day, and meaning like I did that probably. Actually, no, I did it today. And it wasn't even like an attraction. It wasn't even an amusement park ride. It was just driving around a neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, I was like, I remember this. I remember that place. I remember this.
This used to be my playground. This used to be the place that I would play.
I sat at my computer and I put it on full screen. And I was like, oh, this is just like being there. I mean, kind of. And then it made me sad because I wasn't really there. And then it made me mad because I wasn't really there.
Well, Richard, so I'll start you off with this trip. So it was me, Tiffany, and my son, who this was kind of like a semi-birthday present / kind of his first big trip. We've gone to Florida like twice to Destin. Well, Tiffany's gone with him twice. I've been once. So he's gone on like a plane ride, but he's never been on this long.
He's gone to see the other dad.
Yeah, his other dad, the one he likes the best. He says,
right.
He always calls him best dad, and he just calls me Shawn, which irritates me because
Mr. Shawn.
He doesn't even say Mr. He just says Shawn. So Tiffany planned all this out. Like I usually like whenever we go on trips, like I'm the planner, right? Like I have an itinerary. Like I have like pseudo stuff what I want to do, but for this one, I didn't have anything to do with it. I said, it's all you, babe.
It's nice, right? It's nice to not have a plan.
And it was kind of like, so what I really like about this trip too in general, not having anything like that, there was no pressure to have to be anywhere or do anything.
Yes.
So if you've never been to these places, like Universal, Disney's kind of the same way. You could treat it as a lot of like hurry up and wait, or you can just do what you feel like you're in the mood for. Like you go to a ride and it's like 45 minutes. You're like, yeah, I'll wait 45 minutes. Or you can be like, nah, I just won't do that. I'm going to walk around more.
Agreed. Now, when I compare that again, because it's all about me, I don't remember waiting a long time for rides. And I didn't have any sort of special like VIP package or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll run through mine. So this is also kind of like if you're planning a trip to Universal, this will kind of be like my suggestions and what worked for us. But so the first thing I think that Tiff worked out really, really well from where we live, it's like 18 or 20 hours drive from where we live to Orlando.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You drove.
Yeah, counting stops and stuff like that. So Friday night, we had the car all packed, ready to go. We were leaving Saturday morning. And Tiffany's like, I want to be out the door at 5 a.m. And our son, whenever like it's school days, like it's like the death march to get him out of the house. And so I wasn't sure how this
get better.
I know.
I'm just letting you know that right now. It's not going. In fact, it's going to become worse.
He gets so
and then
pissy
he's
about
going to
his
hit
shirt.
double digits, and then it's going to get really bad.
Yeah. And Tiffany and I both aren't like early birds. So like we'll be like, well, I mean, it takes me 30 minutes to get ready, but you have to get up like an extra 30 minutes early to get him ready. So we'll see. But like, I was kind of curious about this, but like I had my alarm set for like 20 till 5 because I wasn't going to shower. I was just going to get up, brush my teeth, put on my clothes, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
And it got about that time. She was up. I snoozed a little bit. So it was like 10 till, plenty of time for me to get ready. And about 5 minutes after I get up, Jacoby jumps out of bed, yells at me, says, Dad, we were supposed to get up early, takes off for his room, and was back in there dressed like in 2 minutes.
Oh, because he had somewhere fun to go.
Yeah. But I don't think he realized that it was going to be a 20-hour drive.
3 hours later, this is stupid.
This is horse shit.
You're stupid.
Shawn, you're the worst.
Go see the good dad.
Dad always lets me fly, Shawn. So we did pretty good. Like we got like I had to run in the house because I think Tiff forgot something, and then I forgot something, ran in the house, and then I had to run back in the house because I forgot to turn the light off. So all said and told, like we were in the car driving out of our driveway like 5:15. So about 15 minutes later than what we really wanted to. The whole ride that morning, Jacoby kept yelling at me that we would have been there if I didn't forget to turn the light off.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, that 3 minutes didn't matter. No, we had already been there, Shawn. You stupid son of a bitch. But
did you get directions from Dad?
But like the longest drive he's been on has maybe been I don't know, like 2.5, 3 hours.
Okay.
So like I think after like him and I, Tiff drove the first like 3 hours, and him and I are kind of dozing on and off. And then on our first stop, I think it was like, oh, like we're almost there, right? It's like, no, like we still got a ways to go. But the thing that Tiffany did that I think was really smart. So we drove all the way to Ocala, Florida, which is like an hour and a half away from Orlando. So typically,
all right,
because if you're like me, usually when you drive to a place, like your first day there is when you're arriving after your long drive. Or you split it up in half, and like it's just like you like, oh well, it's our first day at the park, or it's our first day at the thing, so we got to get up at 5 a.m, and then we'll get there at noon, and you're freaking tired. But with this, we had a long drive, so we were tired, but we got to our hotel at like 10:30, 11:30 at night. Got in, laid down, went to sleep. Able to get up at like 8:30, out breakfast, out the door at 9, and we're at the resort at like 11 o'clock. Refreshed, not a long drive. You kind of get that adrenaline back from what you had when you first kicked off. So, like, my suggestion for anybody, if you can't make that big drive all the way to like Orlando, if it's like over probably 8 or 9 hours, Ocala, Florida. It's like the horse capital of the world, too, they said. Apparently,
did you see anything while you were in Ocala, Florida?
No, just horses, because we got there at like, it was 10:30 our time, so we had jumped an hour, so it was 11:30. So we just parked the car, took some stuff in, went to sleep, woke up, and again, Jacoby, like, he slept in a little bit because it was a long day. He didn't sleep much at all on the drive. Like, by 7:30, 8 o'clock, he was up, dressed, ready to go.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, again, breakfast, then we're at the resort at I think it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock their time. So what's nice too, like, so our plan for day one. So this just shows like we're kind of lucky on this. Our plan for day one was we're going to get the resort, check in. Our room probably wouldn't be ready till like 3 o'clock, like it typically is. So we drop off our bags, go to one park for a couple hours, come back, take all of our stuff out of the bag, eat, relax, and then start the day. Richard, when we got there, we walked up, checked in, expecting that, and they said, "Oh, actually, we've got your room ready. It's the first time we've had this happen in a while, so we're going to get you in your room right away." So
fantastic.
That was because that's the thing too, is we don't have to worry about our bags staying in the car. We took all of our bags to our room. We unloaded all of our stuff, put it all where it wanted to be. Because I don't know if you're like me. If I'm at a place for over a week, I unpack my suitcase and stuff, and I use the drawers. Because then my bag and stuff becomes my dirty clothes hamper.
I don't think I've ever been at a hotel for a week. The longest I think I've ever stayed is maybe 4 or 5 nights. But I think in that scenario, I think I did use the drawers.
Yeah. And it doesn't take long to unpack all that stuff. It was 20, 30 minutes. But what was nice with that is then we got the rest of the day at the park. So, so before we get too far into it, I kind of have a PSA / the most horrific thing that's probably ever happened in my life happened that evening though. So the resort has, it had 2 separate pool areas. One area was a pool, and then they had a lazy river, and the other one was a pool with a slide for kids, a pretty big slide. So
there's 2 pools.
There's 2 pools. Completely separate areas.
Is this one of those scenarios where there's 2 pools and then you look up and there's the ocean?
No,
that always aggravates me.
I
stayed at a hotel once. It was right on the beach, and there's a swimming pool behind this fence, and I'm like, it's right there. The ocean is right there.
Yeah, some people don't like swimming in the ocean though.
Well, those people are stupid.
Or they're afraid of sharks.
There's not going to be sharks if you're 3 feet away from the shoreline.
No, most attacks, Richard, happen within the 10 feet of the shore. No, but so
anyway,
that doesn't bother me very much. So we were at the one pool with the lazy river. We're like, well, let's go do the slide thing. So we go over there. Okay. We're swimming. And so Jacoby's a really good swimmer. He's in lessons. He's good enough that I'd let him jump in the water to keep an eye on him. But I mean, I don't know how you were with your kids and stuff, but whenever he's around water, I'm pretty cautious. I'm not oh, hey, swim in the pool by yourself and I'm going to go get a drink. One of us always has eyes on him.
I am, but the only reason I am is because my middle and my youngest are decent swimmers, and my oldest never seemed to really get the hang of it when it came to swimming.
Yeah,
so that was I was, but that's just because they weren't that great at it.
Yeah, but even if he can't touch in this pool, there's spots where he couldn't touch, and he would know if he's having trouble, he can float on his back and he's get to the side. But with water and stuff, you start taking on water and freaking out, and you can't touch. It doesn't take much for something bad to happen.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, we walk up to slide. Tiffany was at the bottom, and he was right at the cusp of where they want him to wear life jackets going down the slide, and in the front of my brain, I was all right, he can swim, but rules are rules. And then in the back of my head, I was you probably shouldn't think that because that's how bad things happen.
But what you did is you blamed it on that poor lifeguard.
I did.
You're oh, let's listen to what the man says.
Go ahead, little kid, you can swim, but just wear your life jacket like a loser. She's sir, you need to wear one too.
Let's see. Oh, I think the guy from Squaresville wants to make sure you're wearing your life jacket.
But this didn't happen to him. But on our 4th or 5th time going down the slide, we're up there, and all of a sudden we're hearing whistles blowing and everything. And so there's no funny business here. I looked down and straight down. It was probably a 3-story or 2.5, 3-story slide. So you're pretty far up. So anything down below looks really small. But I saw a lifeguard pull what looked like a very limp body out of the water. So, and like they're getting everybody out of the water, they're getting over there, and it was a kid. I don't know how old. Tiff said it was like 7 to 10. Apparently like was drowning, was unconscious. And all the lifeguards did what they had to do. Cause this resort had the resort itself had like 10 lifeguards at each pool. So like it was, and I even had that thought too. I was like, are these lifeguards really ever going to do anything? Like that's the thought I had beforehand. But they did what they needed to do, and like as they're clearing out the pool, they called the EMTs. But the kid was, I think, okay. Like I heard the kid crying as we were leaving. But
right.
Like day one, that's what you get to see.
And so the rest of the time you spent in your room, paralyzed with fear.
Yep. Jacoby be like, "Can I take a bath?" I'm like, "No,
there's sharks in there."
Although he was. Because it's interesting with kids, too, because, like, the whole time he thought that, like, he was in trouble when we had to leave.
Yeah.
But then he didn't ever want to go back to
Shawn,
that pool.
It's all about them.
Well, he knew something was wrong. But I don't know if he quite, like, I think he thought he was the cause of it.
Right, because, like I said, it's all about them.
Yeah.
Like, they have, it's me-centric. And that's not bad. I'm not saying that that's bad. That's just... That's where their head is.
Well, I did ask him, like, well, did you do something? He's like, well, I took that kid's life jacket and called him a pussy. I was like, oh, well, yeah. You might have a little bit of blame for this. But the PSA for me on that is like this was a pool with a bunch of lifeguards, and the kid was not very far away from where the lifeguard stand was. But that's just showing
like, see you later, nerd, and I kicked him down the slide.
Yeah. But that's just the thing, like so many kids, like it's tough to tell if a kid's playing or struggling or what. So that everything looked up from that point. But that was just a scary moment, just kind of a, if you're at a pool, keep your eyes out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, so day one, we get to the hotel. Great call by Tiffany to stay at Okla. Got in our room, checked in, got our stuff, went to our first park, which was Islands of Adventure, Richard. So Islands of Adventure, it's got the superhero area, which I think when we talked, we weren't sure if it'd still be there or not.
I had actually been there. This was a fairly new thing that they had conceived of when I was there. So when I had gone, there were, I'm trying to remember, there was Marvel Island, where the whole island was Marvel. Now, bear in mind, this is before any Marvel movies.
Yeah, and it's...
before any of them.
The thing I noticed, too, is it's all very much like cartoon Marvel or like early Fox TV show Marvel.
So when I was there, I remember it was very comic. Like the characters were all obviously like from the comics. Like it was anime. It was drawn from the comics. Like that was the look that all the characters had.
And it still is. They haven't updated that at all. So like
roller coaster. There was a Spider-Man 3D ride, which in my brain I remember being the highlight of that day. But that was Marvel Island. So there was Marvel Island. Now there was also, I don't think if I remember correctly, I think there was one island that just had a generic like Atlantis theme.
Okay, that one I don't think was there. If it was like a water parky thing, they've kind of made that into, I think, like a Toonland or Dr. Seuss kind of thing.
No, I think the Dr. Seuss one was there. Anyway, so talk to me about Islands of Adventure while I try and look this up.
So they still had the Marvel stuff, which was very much similar to what you were saying. We had lunch there at the superhero place, which was like pizza, and Tiff got a chicken parmesan, and Jacoby got a spaghetti and meatballs, and we got one drink, and it came to the sum of $55. It was expensive. And we had planned to they do like a superhero dinner thing there for like $150, where superheroes kind of walk around. And I think after we ate there, we're like, yeah, let's not do that. Let's do something else. But they have that. They have the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park area. So they have like Raptor Encounter, which was pretty cool, and the Velociraptor ride.
Okay.
First day we went into, they've got a really cool kind of like science area. So if you get there at certain times, you can see a baby dinosaur born. So we got to do that, which was pretty cool. And what I like too, so like my son's at the age, he's like 6. And I think like 7, 8, we could probably still get this, but he still has that very vivid, magical imagination. So like to him, when that dinosaur was being born, I'm sure in his head, he's like, well, it's not a real dinosaur, but there's still that little bit of doubt. Like, well, maybe it is a real dinosaur. So we got to go up next to a baby velociraptor. And then the other time we went there, we got to see an actual big velociraptor. We got to see, I can't remember what that one's name was. It wasn't Blue. It was a different one. They've got that. They've got Hogsmeade. So Harry Potter land. Yeah. One of them's there.
So when I was there, none of the Harry Potter stuff was there, which this was before the books even came out. So I guess that typical.
Yeah, it was cool.
Robbed.
I did a butterbeer at that one, which I liked, which was really good.
What does it taste like?
It's basically like a butterscotch root beer with like some kind of like whipped topping.
Okay.
So it's good. It's different. So like the first day we're just kind of walking around getting a feel for this park. And then we went back and went swimming and then kind of called it a semi-early night. Like, so my goal for this trip, I thought I was going to be able to like kind of catch up on some like Obi-Wan Kenobi, some other shows like Stranger Things. Like, cause I figured we'd get back to the hotel at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Everybody be in bed. I'd stay up till 11:30 midnight like I do here. And even try to work out. But Richard, we were doing like 25 to 30,000 steps a day. We were getting back to our hotel at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and we were pooped. And we went right to bed.
That makes sense.
So yeah, that was day one.
Okay. So I looked it up. So when I was there, apparently it had just opened. Like it was when I had gone, it had been there for like it had been open like less than a year.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like an early 2000 like setup. And like the Spider-Man ride, it was very much a like from the cartoon that was out at that time.
Okay. So when I was there was Superhero Island, which was all Marvel. There was Toon Lagoon.
Yep, that's still there. Like very much like old like 60s, 70s cartoons.
Yeah, like Popeye and shit like that.
Yep.
The Lost Continent, which was like the Atlantis thing I was talking about.
That's still there. I think the ride that was there, like what's his face Fury? It was closed when we were there.
Yes, Poseidon's Fury. It was
Fury,
It was basically like a water show. And then the Dr. Seuss stuff was all there.
So it sounds like the new stuff is the Hogwarts and the Jurassic World stuff.
Yes.
So day one at Islands of Adventure was more of kind of like a scoping it out, seeing what we're going to do. Because we had express passes for each park later in the week. So our thoughts were we'd go, kind of walk around, get a feel, and then do a lot of the rides the next time. Because the other thing, so I don't know if you know this, Richard, when you go with kids to places like this, they want everything from the gift shops.
I don't know. I've taken my kids to Six Flags once, and it was honestly like we did all the rides in a day, and by the time that day was over, my kids all my kids wanted to do was get in the car and go home. Like they were done. Like 5 o'clock rolled around and they were done.
Do we have to do more rides?
Because they had just like they had just wham bam thank you bammed everything in a single day. And so they had just put their body through the ringer, but they were good. Like they were satisfied, But like at 5 o'clock, they were like, we're done. We're done here.
I don't know if Six Flags is set up like this, but like Universal, like you walk in, gift shop. You walk into this spot, gift shop. Like,
no, they were.
It is stores everywhere.
And
so,
like every ride empties out into a gift shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did, Tiffany had a really good idea for this. So we want to get him some things. So the first 2 days we had him make a list of all the things he really, really wanted. And then we were going to make him kind of pick from that list. Because sure enough, what would happen is he'd be like, oh my God, I want this thing. And we'd get it. And then be like, all right, well, no more stuff. And then like the very next story, he'd be like, well, I really want this instead.
Take the other thing back. That thing's stupid. It's trash. I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. But day 2. So day 2 there, we were going to get up early and go to Universal. And I let Tiffany set the alarm because I wasn't worried about it, shut mine off. And we slept in a little bit later than we wanted to, which was fine because we got to the park at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Wandered around. So Universal has Men in Black, has Diagon Alley, Transformers, Simpsons. It's the place where the old Jaws ride was. So they've still got like a big Jaws.
I only went to Universal for one night.
Oh.
But it was Halloween night.
Nice. Yes, because that is where a lot of the old stuff is. So a lot of the Universal monsters, they've got stores for that all over the place.
Yes.
Oh. They did have Scooby-Doo people
so
there
what
too.
they had done is basically like all the rides were shut down that night. However, they just basically put up mazes. It was like a mummy maze and a Dracula maze. Like they had just put up, it was just like 5 or 6 different mazes that you would run around in.
That's awesome. And it has to be a big deal because apparently they just started putting this out, but the Halloween 2022 stuff, like the more like monster store, when you first walked in, they already had all that merchandise ready for you to pick up.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a big deal. So again, we didn't really do.
That was the only night I went was Halloween night. That was the only night I went. I'd ever been there. So I never even seen the place during the day.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get to do the Jaws ride then?
Didn't get to do any of the rides.
Which Jaws ride at night? I've watched the last ride they did for that. The Jaws ride at night would have been super freaky.
Yeah, especially for you.
Yeah. Well, even watching the video, it made me kind of nervous. Like I thought like, well, this is stupid. It's animatronics, but you see it. I'm like, fuck that. There's one where they drive you, like they drove you into like this like enclosed like water shed, and it's like pitch black, and he's got like a little flashlight like shining around, and the freaking shark busts through the side. I'm like, nope, couldn't do it, couldn't do it. But so I was trying to figure out because I sent you pictures. There's like a big pond in the middle of the Universal Park.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the Jaws ride, but apparently they tore down all the Jaws stuff, which is now what the Diagon Alley stuff is. So it's more back in the corner.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I only saw one. So there's the big shark that they have hanging up, and then there was a building with an Amity sign on it. That was the only 2 things that I could kind of tell were like Jaws related.
Huh.
So like I said, day 2, we're walking around there. We weren't planning on doing any rides, but the first ride that we got to do was the Transformer ride. And so we didn't have our express pass for this, and the ride wait for that was like an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
But we didn't have to wait, Richard. Luck shone on us again. So we're in the Transformer gift shop, and we weren't really planning on riding anything. And my son like walked towards the exit of the ride, and he's like, well, is this how we get on the ride? And I was like, no, that's the exit, buddy. We have to go out front, and it's a pretty long wait. And the lady sitting there kind of like looks around. She's like, hey, if you want, I can sneak you up here.
Yeah.
And she's like, if you want to grab I don't know if it's your wife, your girlfriend, or whoever. I mean, like, if you guys come over here, I'll go ahead and just get you up here. So I yelled at Tiffany, and like Tiffany and I aren't big ride fans. And so I really wasn't sure like if I would like something like this. But it was kind of like, well, you got a free opportunity to kind of get up there, so let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
obviously, they're like, he can do it. So if they're like, hey, the 6-year-old can do it, you should be able to handle it. But the Transformer ride was pretty cool.
But I didn't handle it, Richard.
He's like, Dad wouldn't cry at this.
Man up, Shawn. Stop calling me that.
The funny thing is he kept calling me Shawn this whole trip. So we get the button line, and it's very much kind of like the Spider-Man ride. So you're on rails, but it's all 3D stuff. And I really want to see what the inside of these look like, because there's spots where like you're moving and shifting and raising, because it's like a 2.5, 3-story building. So there's spots where you're falling down.
I have a story for you. I went on the Spider-Man like 2 or 3 times, and at one point the ride broke.
Oh, uh-huh.
Okay, so we were doing this thing. We were going, and it was basically like we were on the top of a building, and then it dropped us off of the side of the building, and in the middle of that fall is when the ride broke.
Okay.
And then so everything just shut off. And that's when I realized, Shawn, that we were actually 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
It reminded me of have you seen those making of Mandalorian episodes where you see like, dirt and like a little rock here and there, and then the rest is like TV screens?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, you kind of saw the sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your big falls, like, I don't know how high the Spider-Man one takes you. I'm guessing the Transformer ones takes you a little bit higher.
I think that Spider-Man one doesn't take you very far, because I think it's essentially like you're on you're basically like on like almost like a very movable scissor lift.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I know the Simpson ride is very much like that, which I think the Simpson ride used to be the Back to the Future ride, because that one like lifts you up and you're like in a dome, and it just kind of like rocks and shifts you around. Because that one I kind of pulled my 3D glasses down, and it kind of took the momentum out of it, so you just feel like you're just getting jerked around the whole time.
I gotcha.
But the Transformer one's like, he did really well. Like, I was worried that he wasn't going to handle it. The only part he didn't like, there's a spot in it where one of the Autobots shoots a rocket at you, and like it explodes behind you, and it's got like, a fire that pops out. You feel the heat from it. He didn't really care for that. And that was kind of a theme of this whole trip, is anything with fire he did not like at all.
You birthed Frankenstein's monster.
Apparently, because at Diagon Alley, which was really cool, there's a dragon on the bank, and every 10 minutes it shoots out fire. And the first time we were pretty far away, and he was like, oh, that's cool. But the second time we were like right underneath it, and you could feel the heat. And after that, whenever he started hearing it growl, he would run into a store. So he was like, nope.
Great. Now he's going to have a fear of dragons. How's he going to grow up and be around any dragons when he's older?
I don't know. I'm going to have to tell him Dad's not scared of dragons. Maybe that'll man up.
Yeah.
Like, are you afraid of dragons, Shawn?
Pussy punch.
So day 3, we got the Universal Express Pass. Kind of the same thing, but we did get there really early. So we thought we got into the park an hour early with the hotel we stayed at, but that was for actually the other park. But it was kind of nice that we got there at so the park opens at 9. We got there like a quarter after 8. So we're one of the first ones there. But what was nice about that, because so if you're really big into like the Harry Potter stuff, try to get there early, and first thing you need to do is just walk right to the Harry Potter stuff, because at the second half of the day, that place is packed.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
But so our goal was, we got there, we went to the Overlanders wands, and they do like a wand ceremony thing, which was pretty cool. It's like 5 to 10 minutes. And then we got Jacoby a wand, which he picked a Death Eater, which was pretty metal.
Very metal.
He saw all the skull ones. He's like, I want one of those.
He kept trying to killing curse me, and I was like, hey.
He's like, turn into Daticus. That's work. You're still just Shawn. Mom, can we leave Dad here and go to Destin where Dad's at? But what's cool is like of the things there, like everything's super expensive, and they've got these wands, and they're interactive wands, right? So in different parts of the Harry Potter stuff, you'll see these like metal circles in the ground, and they'll tell you to wave the wand a certain way and say a word, and stuff happens. So like of the expensive how stuff is, like you'd think that wand would be like over $100. It's still expensive. Right. It's like $65, but
that's not bad.
It's not terrible. I mean, you get a wand, and then you've got like at least, if you wanted to, 2 to 4 hours of stuff to do, because you can do stuff at that park and then at the other park too.
Like by comparison, the build your own lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge is like $200.
Yeah, and this is like they have a ton of them. So we did that.
And Shawn,
a little bit.
I'm just putting it out there. I will spend every single cent of that $200. I will steal $200 from your wallet and go and build myself a lightsaber.
If you go, I'll pay for half of one of your lightsabers.
Oh my God. I made my kids promise me to take me there before I die. I said, and after I go there, then you can just drive me to a beach and put me on a boat and send me out to sea.
Find an alligator in infested waters and just let me go.
I sit in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon with a lightsaber that I made on my belt.
It just goes downhill after that.
Where else do I have to go but down?
Just goes downhill.
I have no place else to go. That's it. I've peaked. That's my peak as a human being. Everything I've ever wanted from the time I was 7 years old will have culminated in that moment.
Like, Dad, why are we driving to the gun store? No reason. I need a gun and one bullet.
Please hurry.
So
something spoils this.
So we'd use the Express Pass there, but we didn't do a ton of rides. We did Simpsons, Men in Black, and the Minions ride. So the Minions ride was like an hour plus wait, just regular. So even with our Express Pass, it still took like 35 to 40 minutes for us to get through and get on that ride.
Okay, so one thing I was going to ask is technically, so you went, this is like early June, okay? Mm-hmm. So we're like right in, I would argue that you are right in the throes of vacation season. Do you think you would have had an easier time if you had gone and done all this in, say, like mid-October?
I don't like I've talked to somebody about like when they think the best time is, and I think they've said like end of January, 1st of February, because everybody's back in school, holidays are over. This wasn't too bad. I didn't feel like it was like a lot of bumper to bumper. And I think the reason for that is because this was the week after Memorial Day. Memorial Day. So everybody's already had 3 days off. So a lot of people probably were planning on going like the next week. And I think the weather scares some people off too, because it is usually warmer, even though the weather was really great for us. So I think we lucked out. I think it's kind of you're playing a little bit of, busy roulette in terms of going in June. But I think the holiday kind of helped alleviate a little of that. But the Express Pass
I just asked because you were talking about wait times and stuff.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to kind of see what they look like throughout the year. If you get there early, like a lot of people got there early to get on the Minion one, or to get to like Hogwarts and stuff like that. But the Express Pass thing, I don't know if I would say that was necessarily worth it. One, because we're not big on rides, but two, like, the Men in Black one, like the regular wait was like 10 minutes, and the Express line we got like right on. And even with the Express, I didn't realize this. There's two separate types of Express. There's one where you can constantly keep riding through the Express lane, and then the one we got was just for one time. Oh, I see. So like I was like, we should do the Men in Black one. It was like a 25-minute wait at that point. And it was like, well, we have to wait in line. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I would say that like if you're only gonna do a thing for a day, then I think that's where you opt for like as much skip the line package as you can, because that way you're able to kind of like maximize your day.
Yeah.
Like, okay, for example, like I said, I took all the kids to Six Flags, and that's what I did. I did the Fast Pass thing. And with that Fast Pass, we were able to hit every single ride in a single day.
Yeah.
Or think at least all the rides that we wanted.
Yeah. If you want to do every single ride and maybe multiple times, but so I think the one we got was like $100 more a day. The unlimited one, Tiff said, was like $300 or $400 a day. Like a significant amount of money more.
Yeah.
So like if you're like us, where we're like, well, we just want to ride like the 3D ones a couple times, then it's probably not worth it for us if we did it again.
Yeah, I agree.
The cool thing though, Men in Black, it's a ride, but you get guns, so you get to shoot aliens, and it keeps your score. So that one was pretty
cool.
Dope.
That's pretty rad.
Let's see. So Islands of Adventure was the next day. We were kind of starting to come down.
So you're heading back to the island.
Yep. We only rode Spider-Man that day there. It was kind of like right when we got there, Jacoby was like super tired. Like we're gonna do the Overlanders wands again, but he was kind of throwing a fit. So we tried to do a couple, not really a fit, but he's just like, man, I don't really want to do this. He loved the Jurassic.
He's like, oh God, more of this. I'm so over it.
He finally tried butterbeer that day and liked it. The funny thing with the butterbeer, so I went up and got me a butterbeer one of the times, and they had fire whiskey up there. And I was like, well, I mean, is that like actual alcohol, or is that like some kind of like drink? And so I ordered it. They asked me if I wanted one shot or two. I was like, just one. And it was actually cinnamon whiskey. But the funny thing is they said, well, she's like, as she gave it to me, the butterbeer and that, she's like, do not pour that whiskey into that butterbeer. I was like, well, I wasn't thinking about that, but that sounds amazing now. And she says, because if you do, they'll kick you out. And she says, but if you're going to do it, go around that corner behind there and do it. And I had overheard this day, apparently that butterbeer is like a trademark drink. They can't deviate from the recipe at all. It's got to be the butterbeer to the right size with the whipping on top. So no samples, not like if a customer's like, I don't want the whipped stuff on it. Too bad. You got to get it that way.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
The little bit I caught is the guy's like, it's a trademark drink, so we have to make it this way.
You know what? Like, I'm fine. I think that that line sounds like bullshit to me. However, like, I think that it's easy enough to like say, to just be like, because I'm not making 30 drinks and they're all going to be fucking different.
Yeah. Because like I don't want to wait in line.
It's easier just to be like, well, we can't deviate from the recipe. It's trademarked.
Yeah.
I'll go to jail. Do you want me to go to jail, sir?
Do you see that Hogwarts over there? There's a cell in there where we put people who don't make this drink as the fucking recipe.
Put me in that fucking dragon's mouth. Do you understand?
I'll burn. I don't like fire. It scares the shit out of me. So the last day we went to Volcano Bay. I won't touch too much on that because it was a really fun like water park. And I guess what I really want to say about that, if we're talking about like a journal part of this, so Jacoby was like, Tiffany could not pry him from my side during this trip. We walked anywhere, he wanted to hold my hand. If he wanted anybody to hold him, it was me. At the water park, we did this like 2-person raft. And
she's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Well, at first, I think she was kind of like, oh, sweet, this is kind of nice. But like day 3, she was like, listen here, you little pecker. Like, I set this whole thing up. Show me some love.
Dad, thank you for doing this. Wait, what?
Your dad's in Destin. Wait, what?
Hey, look here. Look at me. Look at me. Don't look at him. Look at me.
Don't look at Shawn. But it was a lot of fun, like, getting to have that moment. Because, like, she gets, like, multiple days in a row with him at times. But, like, I don't get a lot of extended periods with him like this. So that's the part that, like, I'm going to take to my grave. Because it was just, like, every day there was no, like, well, we got to hurry up to go here. Or, no, we can't do that because we got to do this. It was just a relaxing, like, what do you want to do? You want to do that? Sure, let's do that. Don't want to do that? That's fine. We'll go here.
Yeah.
But
that's nice. So with the water park, is it one of those things where kind of like a water park is a water park?
It's the first one I've been to. So it's got like a wave pool. It had like a kid area. It had like a pool. There was 4 different big raft rides, like 5-person raft rides. We did the 2-person little tube ride. Quite a bit was fun. But what was cool about this park is they gave you bracelets. And so you're like, well, I want to go on this big raft ride. Go up, you scan a thing. It says, all right, come back in 30 minutes and it'll be your turn. And so you could keep swimming, you could eat. And then the tube one we did was a free ride. So you just could keep going in and in and in as much as you wanted. So you're like, well, I've got 30 minutes. Let me get on this because it takes 5 minutes to get on it. So, we would do that like 4 or 5 times and then go do the other ride. So I think we're more water park people. Like we really like those rides. So I think we were trying to find one kind of more in our area. But I assume that probably like the one in Six Flags is probably pretty similar, maybe smaller scale.
Yeah, I would agree with you. A water park is a water park. But yeah, that's how I kind of feel about it. Like they all kind of have the same stuff. It's just a degree of like how nice or not nice it looks.
Yeah, I could see that. This one, I mean, it's Universal, so it was really clean, really nice. Food was pretty good there too. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, so the hotel we stayed at was the Cabana Resort, which was like a 1950s, 1960s themed resort, which was pretty cool.
Was it the Copacabana?
It wasn't. It was the Cabana.
Oh.
But it had bowling, it had an arcade, had a gift shop, obviously. But
of course.
It was fun. And so I'll end up, so the trip there was great. Had a lot of fun, but like the worst thing of every trip is like we got to pack up and head home, right?
And you left the Copacabana.
We left the Cabana.
You said goodbye to Lola because she was a showgirl.
She was. But as we're driving.
Her name is Lola. She was a showgirl.
We stopped in Georgia. Have you ever heard of Buc-ee's gas stations?
No. Wait a minute. Is it spelled Buckeyes?
It's spelled B-U-C and then 2 E's. And like they're things like a beaver.
I don't think so. I want to say maybe, but
if you get a chance, you should, because it's kind of interesting. Like on this highway,
it's not memorable. It's like if I have, I don't remember it.
I think you would remember it because it's like so. Like on this stretch of highway, there's only 2, and in between them, they advertise like forever. So like 300 miles apart.
Okay.
They don't allow truckers. It's only for like cars. There was probably 50 pumps there. So
wow.
Yeah, there was a ton of pumps. You go in and it was like a it was more like the original Walmart size with different foods, different like they had some gift stuff, they had like clothes, they had like a bunch of things you'd ever want like on the road. They had fresh pulled pork sandwiches, which I wish we would have known because I would have stopped there and got one. But they had like roasted cashews and roasted pecans.
I like that.
Yes, good stuff. Like, and they had their own like chips and all kinds of things. So anybody going around, you see a Buc-ee's, stop and check it out. And let me know if maybe I'm just making it up that it's great. But it was pretty cool. Like it was definitely like the next time if we go down there again.
I like it. You're such a dad. You're like, this gas station is pretty fucking stellar. Well, let me tell you right now.
And to be honest, the reason I say that is because through Georgia, when we stopped like 3 times, everyone we stopped at, the bathroom smelled disgusting. And like legitimately one of them we stopped at, there was like something bloody in the urinal. And I was just like, oh, like, God, it should have gone to Buc-ee's. That's actually their theme. It's like we don't have blood in our urinals. It's
not your blood. Just man up and do your business. Is that what your son said? Stop being a pussy, Dad. It's not your blood.
Like, what do you think? It's fire? Come on, Shawn.
Balls out.
But yeah, that was my trip. I don't know if, like I said, the slideshow's coming to an end, so I don't know if anybody be excited about this, but I had a blast. It was a lot of fun, and excited to do it again. I mean, you don't get a lot of family time, because trips can be stressful at times.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
You know what? trips can be super stressful. If there is one lesson that I would like, well, if there's multiple lessons I would have liked to impart on my younger self, and one of them definitely would be like don't stress when you're like out doing shit with your kids or with your family in general. Like, don't like just be present in the moment, and like the other shit that is stressing you out, like it's still going to stress you out. Just save it for after.
Yeah, I agree. I think we did a pretty good job. And even like these, like you kind of see everybody going through the same thing because it's a long day. There's a lot of walking. You're hungry. You're tired. You know, everybody's hungry and tired, and just kind of trying to be cognitive of that, and you know, just trying to be in the moment, like you said.
Yeah, 100%.
I like those. Is that your Richard closing thought on that?
That is my closing thought. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we did. You know, Tiff had said something else. She's like, you walk around and you see a lot of parents like getting very agitated with their kids. And I'm sure there's a couple times we're kind of like trying to hurry them along. But for the most part, I think we did pretty well. And he did really, really well. So, you know, yeah, it's just an adventure. You got to enjoy it.
This is true.
All right. Well, as we're getting ready to plan our trip with me and Rich there, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website, or languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbromance.com. And if you want to be like if you want your own express pass to Language of Bromance, join our Patreon like Wendy and Aaron.
That gives you guys the fast pass to amazing stuff.
Yeah, there's no waiting in line for these episodes.
That's right.
All right. Well, is there anything else before I close her out?
No, I'm good, sir.
All right. Well, that's all the Bromance have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And remember, don't B-O-Y. B-O-Y not. He did love that Spider-Man ride.
I bet he loved it. Did he? I bet he loved it so much he almost called you dad.
Almost. He's like, oh my God, this was the best day ever. Shawn.
Shawn. Mr. Shawn.